You break bread, you share stories through family. And so those factors were almost more for me to be a chef and do that for a living for cooking school than sometimes even like the exact foods itself, if that makes sense.
You have to do a line of education, and that's through your marketing channels. So and that doesn't always mean email and SMS or a newsletter. It might mean a recipe.
Right.
How do I make this so easy for you to use so then it becomes a daily habit of you using it?
CPG is not for the faint of heart. Let me just be honest. Not for the faint of heart.
Hey friends, welcome to Above the Fold podcast. I'm your host, Jess Servion. We're going to be talking about everything in your customer's journey. You're going to learn things about customer experience, brand experience, and marketing secrets that help you drive your brand success. So stay tuned, buckle up, and let's get into the episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Above the Fold podcast with me, Jess, your host. This week, I am joined by Chef Rama Ginde, a culinary entrepreneur, educator, and co-founder of Satya Blends. Rama, tell the audience who you are and what you're about.
So I'm Rama. I'm a chef, mother of 3, CPG co-founder, private chef, caterer, you name it. Born and raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico from Indian parents. And I went to cooking school at the Culinary Institute of America, and I went to school for nutrition. Was in the kitchen business for a long time, and we just launched Satya Blends, a Indian-inspired spice blend company that empowers the everyday home cook to add a touch of Indian magic to their food.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So I want to kind of like get right into this, but I do have one question for you. What's a dish from your childhood that still brings you comfort today?
Do I have to name one? Can I be like...
You can name like as many as you want, girl.
So, of course, being in Puerto Rico, there was, the simple things like rice, beans, and plantains. That to me is like just the smell of, I don't know, like bay leaf and onion and garlic. That's very nostalgic. And that was made by my mom, by friends and family. But again, I'm Indian. So that was my Puerto Rican childhood thing.
Yeah.
But my Indian food runs really deep through my veins, There's too many. The first one I would say is aloo parathas, which are Indian flatbread stuffed with spiced potato. And that is really good. And you dip it in yogurt. You have it with lime pickle. It's like sweet, salty, savory, a party in your mouth.
Yeah.
And lamb biryani, which is layers of like slowly cooked lamb and rice.
Girl, you make
saffron,
me hungry right now.
Braised meat. And it's all about the condiments. The condiment queen. You know what I mean?
Condiments, I think flavor.
Flavor, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about this off camera, right? Like, I think we actually have a very similar thing when it comes to food too, because I told you, like, I am half Russian Jew, but also half Salvadorian. So but I was raised by my mom and I was raised by my mom in the South. And so actually the foods that I used to eat were like gumbos, jambalayas, like a lot, like I wouldn't say the same by any means, but I would say like that Creole cooking is very flavorful, like very flavor forward in general.
Yeah.
And then I also come from like Latin descent. So, girl, I love a spice.
Yeah.
And it's not even about like a spice, like heat spice.
Right,
it's like a flavor spice.
I think people sometimes have trouble understanding the difference, right? When you say spice, they just like immediately think it's spicy. But there's a difference between spice, flavored forward, flavorful food versus spicy food.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to kind of break the cycle or bust the myth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can add flavor to your food through spices, but it doesn't have to be spicy. And that's, I think, the misconception for like Indian food a lot.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. The one thing I also want to say is one of my really good girlfriends, she's half Italian and half Indian.
No way. How
So
fun.
like her mom's cooking is like real good too.
Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, wait, I want to go back to the Puerto Rico thing.
Sure.
Because you were raised in Puerto Rico with Indian parents.
Yes.
How did these diverse cultural experiences shape your culinary perspective? Not just on the flavor perspective, but like just culinary.
Honestly, everything. I mean, my parents were immigrants. They moved from India to New York. They were in New York for about a year or two and then to Puerto Rico. They started a business there, so the entrepreneurial spirit was strong, started business from scratch. And so much of it was a lot of Puerto Rican food, I would say, is also very similar in the onion, garlic, cilantro, citrus, coconut, things like that. And I think having that as a food of kind of like my neighborhood food or my environmental food versus the food at home, it was like the perfect marriage that kind of led me to being a chef. And a chef meaning not just through the food part, but even everything that has to do with food, hospitality, warmth. Yeah. Those two were very prominent in both of the cultures.
Yeah.
Family.
Yes.
Family is everything. You break bread, you share stories through family. And so those factors were almost more for me to be a chef and do that for a living for cooking school than sometimes even like the exact foods itself, if that makes sense. So the feelings around the food.
Yeah. What do you have any sort of memories of like from your parents' kitchen that encapsulates the essence of your family's cooking traditions?
That's an interesting question because it goes many ways. I mean, okay, if you're a child of an immigrant parent, just saying, there's so many different ways that your parents say, I love you. And for us, it was usually never like, I love you. It was, here's an amazing bowl of cut up fruit. And that's their tradition of like, if they see you sad or you need some extra love, it's a beautiful bowl of cut up fruit, really, nice and fancy. Yeah. Or it's your favorite food, serve for dinner that night. Or it's a sweet and salty limeade that your dad made. And it was his way of saying like, I see you, I hear you. Maybe you're a hormonal 13-year-old, so
have some limeade.
But that kind of became a tradition in a way. Yeah. If that made sense. And then traditions where every single happy and sad moment was celebrated through food. And certain dishes actually meant certain things. Like for Indian New Year, we have green colored foods because green signifies money. Yeah. So we have this sag, which is like a braised spinach dish. And so you have that for Diwali, or you have sweet dishes for Diwali because whenever you celebrate something new or you're starting the year off, you kind of, you toasted it with a sweet dish. Yeah. So a lot of Indian sweets. So yeah, it's a loaded question. There's so many.
I know that's totally loaded because I mean, you think about it even from like other cultures, right? Yeah. Like other kitchens. I mean, Asian culture, like in New Year's, like right after New Year's, you eat a bowl of noodles to signify like long, I think, is it long health or wealth? But like you get the longest noodles. Like you don't never cut them up because it's like you want like long life, Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, even for me, like my comfort food is like two different things. It's like gumbo. Whenever I'm sad or anything.
See, it's connected to emotion, right? Emotion, traditions, it's all culture, it's all together.
Literally, whenever I'm sad, I'll like make a gumbo. And my husband, who's like from Pennsylvania, like never did flavor foods, right? He would be like, oh, no, I don't like spice. And I'm like, it's flavor. Anyway, I would just like always make it, and now he like loves it. He's like, "Can you get sad again?
Yeah. Make gumbo."
I'm like, "Please, I don't want to."
You're like raging with gumbo, and cutting up the okra
because it like takes forever.
Yeah, it does.
It takes forever. Okay, well, I want to kind of before we talk about like the product that you've created, I really want to talk about your full journey.
Sure.
So, I'd love to hear like what inspired you besides obviously going to culinary school. I would really be interested to know like what inspired you to go that private chef route, the like group setting route, like events and stuff like that as like one of your businesses.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I don't know if you guys or if or anyone else knows, but like when you're an Indian kid in the 80s, 90s, you're going to be a doctor, finance, like it's just one of those stereotypical, I don't know, like jobs, I would say, career paths. Yeah. So when I told my parents I wanted to be a chef, that was because I watched a lot of Food Network and my mom was such a great cook. At that time, Food Network was popular, like just starting.
Yeah.
So it was like
with like Top Chef. And
right. But even before that, it was like Emerald, which is like
Emerald.
on
That's
TV.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. And then like Martha Stewart was still like, she was amazing and really still one of the most popular people there,
Yeah.
But I would say like because we entertained so much as a family growing up and we had that open house feel and like food was plentiful, we were very blessed like that to just, my mom was obsessed with cooking. I realized like I could make a career out of this passion. And why not, right? Like I didn't know about it and a lot of people in the community would say like, "You're going to have your daughter go to cooking school? Like that's kind of weird. Is this going to be for her future husband?" And I was like, "No, it's going to be for her."
Okay, girl power.
Yeah,
Okay. Excuse me.
Exactly. Exactly. So then I went to the Culinary Institute of America, toured there, and I think my parents were shocked too. Like we went when I was 17 and they were like, "This is legit. Like you could go to school here. This totally makes sense. Like I understand this."
Wow.
So that the whole growing up in a family of so much hospitality and cooking and things like that as their love language, that really affected me and really inspired me. And like I said, my mom put me on the countertop at age 6 making samosas, learning how to make chai, making dumplings and spring rolls, and that was like that was my playground. So I had that in me already. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was a great cook back in her days. She was like a culinary trailblazer in India, making Chinese food, making Italian food and French food, all self-taught, but just doing it because she just had the knack for it. So all those experiences, went to cooking school for 4 years, got my degree in culinary arts management, went to school at IIN for nutrition for a year after work, worked at Jean George and Bouchon and Per Se here in the city. And then after 2 years of kind of doing all those world Hyatt hotels, I was like, wait, hold on. People are asking me how to cook.
Yeah.
They're asking me like, "Chef Rama, can you teach me how to cook?" And I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Kind of started teaching people. And then it became a business. I opened up a storefront in 2008 in a small town in Jersey. And I had it for 6 years. And we did a lot of cooking classes, private chef events.
Yeah.
And then kind of the rest is history. It's called Wannabe Chef. It's still alive.
Yeah.
It's still alive and it's cruise control. It's been around for about 16 years.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So that was your first business.
First business. Yeah. And still running. Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. Still doing its thing.
I love a serial entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Truthfully.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So Satya Blends,
Yes.
it's a tribute to your grandmother,
You
correct?
got it. You got it.
I did my research.
Yeah. You're good.
I would love to hear about like her influence in the brand.
Well, like I said, she was, one of those people who, whether it's food or something else, who's just really good at what they do, but they don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So she was one of those people, like everybody loved her cooking. And she even taught cooking classes too in her apartment in Bombay. Like people would come and want to learn from her. And she was just so inspirational like that, like had such a good hand in cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And then that passed on to my mom, that kind of flair,
Mm-hmm.
but I think at that time my mom didn't know that you could make a career out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You just thought it was like,
yeah, something you do at home.
Yeah.
Everyone cooks, right? But
Yeah.
do people really cook really well or have a passion for it is different.
yeah.
And then that's how her influence, then my mom, we took family recipes and we made them more modern,
Yeah.
quick, efficient, clean labeled,
Yeah.
did all that stuff for it.
Yeah. Well, what challenges have you faced in launching a spice brand that honors that tradition while also like this is actually really loaded, right?
Yeah.
So what challenges have you faced that honor that tradition, but also appeal to mass audiences?
Yes, that's a great question. So CPG is not for the faint of heart. Let me just be
No.
honest. Not for the faint of heart. You got to
No.
really love it and you got to know. And I think what I did is I did network and I did meet a lot of founders before launching. I had some coffee chats with them on the phone and really kind of, understood why they started it and what they started it. And I think the reason for us is we really thought about our why.
Mhm.
And our biggest why, my mom and I, are how do we get people at the dinner table eating together like they did back in the day?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, why is that such a foreign thing? And unfortunately, I can tell you as a mom of 3, just saying, calling myself out right now,
Mhm.
I may not eat dinner together as a family 7 days a week, but we do at least 5. So we try our best. But how can we create a vehicle for that to happen? But by adding our family recipes in there, adding spices where it's like you can literally buy a roast chicken, let's just say, and add our spice to it, like sprinkle it on there. If you're, an avid home cook, you can make a soup with it, a lentil dish with it, a potato dish with it. You can make a homemade pasta sauce with it. So we kind of made it easy for the home cook to use it in a couple of different ways. You know what I mean? And we they're spices that are pre-blended, pre-toasted already. So we have over 70 recipes on our website. That's the other thing about being mainstream. You really want to support your clients and your customer. Like you don't want to just sell it to them and forget it, right?
Right.
What magic is there in that?
Well, I mean, from a marketing point of view too, right? Like it's like you want, I hate to say this, and I do say this a lot, truthfully, but you also have to assume that the consumer isn't going to understand what you're selling. Like whether it's an olive oil, whether it's a spice, whether it's bread, right? What you put out into the market, they are not going to understand it. And you have to do a line of education. And that's through your marketing channels. So and that doesn't always mean email and SMS or a newsletter. It might mean a recipe. How do I make this so easy for you to use so then it becomes a daily habit of you using it? And then the last thing I'll add about like CPG in general is that the whole goal of CPG is for somebody to have this in my pantry at any given time.
Yeah.
And an only way to get there is you have to educate your consumer.
Right. Exactly. Do you mind if I grab?
Yeah,
one
of course.
These? So I just want to say this was a multi-prong kind of different way that we created these spices.
Yeah.
When I was saying that we wanted to educate our consumer with the spice blends and stuff, one of the things we thought, okay, when you buy a pantry product, you put it away in your pantry, right?
Right.
Or in a spice drawer. We want this to be pretty enough that you keep it on your countertop, that it becomes so accessible and part of your interior design of your kitchen.
Yeah.
And hopefully, potentially next to your salt and pepper, that you're able to grab it, open it. And we really actually worked super hard on our packaging to like maintain the freshness and the moisture of spices with this plastic plug lid.
Yeah. So for anybody tuning in, it's like 10 cans. So they're like big 10 can tuning in.
Those
like
are
not,
gift boxes. Yeah.
Oh, well, these are gift boxes. But just to describe what we're opening, you open it and then inside is a quick guide to our spice blends. And then there's like 3 different spice blends in it. And then each one individually, and I'm assuming this is what you sell on shelf, right?
Got it. Yes, exactly. On shelves.
Are smaller versions of the 10s, but there's like this plastic, like a thick plastic, not rubber, but kind of whatever. And to help it with the freshness, because inside is like a plastic of like the spices within it.
Right. And then you empty out the bag into the tin, and then you have this like, oh, by the way, super fresh, farm to tin in 18 months. Just saying. So they're like, it smells, even when people get it in a box, it's so funny. They're like, are those my spices? Like we have clients will send us an email, be like, I knew that was my spices because I could smell them through the box. Through like the shipping box,
Yeah.
So we really thought of different ways to, again, really support our customer with the packaging, with the way it looks. Because let's be honest, once you put it away, sometimes if it's not top of mind, you know what I mean? If it's not in your face, you might not use it.
I mean, totally. And then that's like why spices just end up in the back of your spice wrap.
Exactly. And whenever we sell, even if we do pop-ups and farmers markets and, things like that, we always tell people like, don't be strangers. You know what I mean? Reach out. Any question is not a stupid question. We want to hold your hand through this whole process because we want you to use them. We want to make your life easier in the kitchen, and we want you to get exposed to these flavorful spices without them being really spicy or salty or overwhelming. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the spice business, but there's a lot of food dyes that happen in spice blends, like your favorite barbecue rub, or it's a lot of sodium that's really not needed.
Yeah.
That will mask the flavor of the spice. I'm sure you can relate from like gumbo and, Southern food. That you want to taste the paprika, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to taste some of those herbs. You don't want to taste just all salt.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
How did you go about like, walk me through, okay, so I've decided that I want to start a brand.
Okay.
And then walk me through, and obviously you have your like the story about it, but like I would love for you to walk me through the naming of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about naming. Let's talk about positioning. Let's talk about messaging, all of it, and branding, because again, I cannot express this enough. Like the branding is so fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. I might cry.
Like I look at it, even these sample packs, and I know like anybody who's listening in, I urge you to like look at the socials as well as like on YouTube, because these packages are just so fun and so colorful. And when I see it, like I'm so drawn to it. If I was at the store and I saw it on a shelf, I would be so drawn to this because I instantly understand that this is from like an Indian culture, and like it's colorful, it's bright, it's fun, you know, it's like I want to go pick this up.
I'm so happy. I mean, can you talk to every single buyer?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry. Call me up.
Yes,
fractional CMO over here.
There we go. I love that actually. So a couple of things, you know, Indian culture is about color, right?
Yes.
You look at the clothing. You look at the art, you look at so many things. And we wanted to really add that to our, you know, food brand. We wanted to be really colorful, not muted or plain. If you look at one of the tins, you see this beautiful artwork, right? This kind of what we call block printing. I don't know if you saw that, but this is what's very popular in Indian clothing. So we thought that'd be really cool, but also an ode to my parents' business. They are garmenters. They're garment owners of a food company. I'm the food company, clothing company, and they've been in the clothing world for over 40 years. So that block printing that you see in textiles in India, the names Meaty Rose. So the way we thought about this was, okay, if this is modern Indian cooking of 2025 with Indian flavors, we thought we would do one Hindi word, meaty. For example, this one means sweet.
Yeah.
And then rose is rose, right?
Yeah.
Like rose. So this one has rose petals in there, pistachios, jaggery, and cardamom.
Wow.
So every single blend, like chaat party. Chaat means Indian street food. That's our Hindi word.
Yeah.
And party, literally, this blend tastes like a party in your mouth.
Ugh.
It's sweet, spicy, and salty. So we thought of fun words. I will say, as someone who is working on getting to the mainstream market, you do want to think of your customer. And the one thing we're doing, we actually are getting another shipment in. We did tweak our packaging slightly with just kind of spelling it out in a very simple way. So instead of meaty rose, we have that. And then in parentheses, we have rose pistachio blend. If
Got
that
it.
makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
I mean, it kind of goes back to.
And that was from learning. That was I mean, we've launched it's been 13 months now. But when you're on this journey, you need to learn quick. And once you do, you need to make it happen.
You make iterations. Right. You can go to market with one thing. Yes. And then you might find yourself like making tweaks to your rebrand.
Yes. And I think that's the most important thing. I think you have to be agile to it and kind of not be stuck to what you started with. And I've heard that from so many CPG owners, buyers, brokers. You know, some people are like, well, are you sure you want to get to this store? Because they might want you to change this.
Yeah.
If I'm in the business of CPG, I'm going to change it.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Not change it, but I'm going to tweak it is what I'm saying. I'm not going to rebrand my whole business.
Absolutely. To like dumb it down, right? Because it's like then you'll lose your like cultural relevancy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just doing little tweaks where if you didn't know about Indian food at all or Indian dishes, but you were open to it, and maybe you went to a restaurant the night before and you had tikka, but my tikka says tikka taza. Taza in Hindi means wow, you know. You might say, but I'm looking for tikka masala. So now we're putting tikka masala blend under our original name.
Got it. Yeah.
You know,
like, and it's not to say like dumb it down, but it's like you have to assume like not everybody knows Spanish.
Exactly.
Right. So, and not everybody knows Hindi.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you have to kind of spell things out for a consumer.
Right.
And the other thing that I would say, and this is a little bit of a hot take, but I think a lot of people build brands thinking like in New York, thinking in Chicago or London or San Francisco, like these places that are very highly populated, right? But the people who are actually buying from you when you go into retail or in your e-commerce site are actually probably people from like a town outside of all these places, right?
Right.
They're shopping at, yes, they might be shopping at a Whole Foods, but they also might be shopping at a Walmart.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I'm just, and I'm not meaning anything derogatory towards like a Walmart or Whole Foods. Like there's nothing, that's not what I mean. I just mean that Whole Foods on the market compared to a Walmart hasn't been around that long. Right. And so it's like, I know when I was growing up, like Walmart is where we would go grocery shopping. Right. Whole Foods was very new. Just like an Erewhon is very new. So like my point is that you have to build your brand, your positioning, your messaging, your iterations, your like colors, like, you know, whatever it is. And you can't just think about big cities. You have to think about the consumers that are in the small towns in middle America.
I love that you said that because we're learning.
Yeah.
We are learning that through e-commerce, through our website. We're seeing, you know, where people are ordering. And I think also sometimes they might not have access to these stores. A lot of the times, like there's no Whole Foods that's close by. So they're ordering it online to get it shipped to them because, you know, they like it or they move there for their partner's business or job or whatnot. So I think that, again, one of the things was making it mainstream, yet staying true to our culture, our tradition, and our roots. And I think finding that combination has been tricky, but we're always kind of open to it. And so far, you know, so far so good. I can't complain. I think when we hear customers' feedback or like our pizza, I mean, come on, everyone knows pizza, right? But even still, people are like, "What's masti?" And masti means naughty in Hindi.
Naughty pizza.
Right,
I love
naughty
that.
pizza. So, but again, they're like, "Oh, this is not for pizza." Because they're just very sometimes stuck in their ways. And
they're like pepperoni pizza and that's it.
Right, exactly. Or like garlic powder or like basil. So the education for us has been our biggest thing. And that's why we are very active on social. We are going to keep on going with that. And the one thing that I realized is that whenever, as a CPG founder, whenever you host a event or you sample your product, that is so game changing. Because I literally have 100% rate of selling the product when someone's tasting it.
Well, they're meeting you too.
Right.
They're meeting you and then it's that emotional connection. But I think that there is, with a brand that has complexity to it, the education and continuing down that education path is going to be so important for you, because as you continue doing sampling, as you continue educating your customer and like making these small tweaks, they in turn will actually, the loyalists will become very emotionally connected to you, like your brand as well. And I mean, the population of Hindi individuals is growing by the day in the US.
I mean, honestly, it is up. I just read this stat the other day, 174% since 2022, I believe. And it's just growing. So a lot of it is, you know, as someone who's Indian, obviously, but I cook. Let's say if I didn't cook, you know, I'm calling my grandmother in India. I'm telling her, you know, Nani, Dadi, send me spices, but sometimes they just can't or they're not around anymore. So how do you get those ingredients or that food passed down? How do you make it accessible for these second generation Indian families to recreate the meals that they grew up with or the flavors that they're familiar with? Or like you were saying, your husband is from Pennsylvania, right? So like, even if you don't marry within your culture or, you know, your traditions or religions, but you want to share it with your, you know, the family that you're married into. Well, this is easy, right?
I know. The family that I'm married into called Tajine the other day. And I was like, no.
No, I get it. And I think also it's a point of also like, you know, conversation, right?
I know.
It's like an ice, like it's like an icebreaker with your own
But
family.
you know what I love about like just the, you know, our country and the diversity of our country, right? And like families of like exactly what you're talking about, like Indian or, you know, just Latin cultures and what, it doesn't matter. It like doesn't, none of it matters. But I think what's so beautiful about where, and maybe the other thing I should say is that I grew up in the South, but then I also, as an adult or like as I got older in my teen years in all the way into my adulthood, moved to California. So I always like understood the value of like a melting pot, right? But what I think is really awesome just as you were saying that stat about like growth of like the Hindi population in the US and like even in like my side, like Latin communities growing and just any cultures. I mean, there's people from Ukraine and Russia and like coming over, right? I think what's really beautiful is that we all have an opportunity to like educate each other on like our foods, and we don't have to do like the most basic pizza things anymore.
Yes. And
you
that,
know?
and that is exactly another reason why we tell people, hey, Indian food's not, or Indian flavors is just not about tikka, for example, or curry, you know,
or butter chicken.
Right. There's so many other layers. Of course, you have to have that to anchor.
Yeah, of
like
course.
ours, for sure. It's like an Italian restaurant. I mean, kind of has to, you know,
have some pasta.
Exactly.
And
has to, but it might be not, you know, the thing that they want to showcase. So I think that's always, I think you got to find a big balance in any business, especially in the CPG world. You've got to have a couple of anchor things where you do have your mainstream customers reaching out for it for them. But once they're hooked, or people who know maybe more about the cultural cuisine, will go above and beyond. And purchase something else.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. What's next for Satya Blends?
Yeah. What's not next is the question.
Yeah, I know.
So there's a lot. So you saw our single serve sachets that we're doing. So we've heard from our customers and clients. Like I say, we're always ears open. And we're realizing that people want to be even more convenient. They want to take our spices and they want to use it for one meal. So we're creating a one meal, one pack situation. It's like a taco seasoning where you rip open the pack and you use it for your saag paneer that day. And it serves 4 to 6. Because also, you know, people don't have storage space in their kitchens as much and just maybe don't want to store it and just they want it super convenient. So that's going to be launching next quarter, our one meal, one packs. Then we are pitching to some bigger stores. We have I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but we have a big pitch coming up next week. Flying to Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Maybe you know that, you know what's over there. I don't know whoever's listening.
We don't jinx nothing. We don't sign no checks.
Exactly.
The money's in the bank.
Exactly.
Okay?
So we have a couple of good pitches coming up. And then we're on Amazon as well. That's fairly new for us. We're working on a chai blend.
Ooh,
Kind of a take on our saffron blend.
Cool.
So I think you're the first to know, like for me to say it out loud. Yeah.
That's fine. By the time this airs, like, it will be out. Or
a chai blend. And you know, I would say big future is coming up. We thought let's start with spices as our first product line, but we got dreams. We want sauces, we want snacks.
Oh my God, I would love to see you guys in a sauce, because I think the one thing I will say too is like in the CPG space, it's and I appreciate this about your brand, that it's like clean ingredients and like the care of like not like processed foods. At the end of the day, CPG is processed foods. Right.
You're right.
And to make a food shelf stable, that means ingredients have to go into it that are not always approved in other countries. Right. And so, I mean, maybe this is a hot take. Maybe this is just a word of advice. Just stay true to your cleanliness in your brand.
Yes. Thank you.
And I think that I would love to see more of like your products on the shelves of like the sauces and the ready to go packages.
Yeah. We want like table sauces, you know what I mean? Where you can just kind of put some on your, you know, finished food or like a sandwich or something like that. And then something really exciting that from a chef's point of view that I'm really excited about is we're coming up with a secret spicy supper club. Starting this fall. Yes, so I hope when you come, you can come.
Yes.
And that's going to be invite only, but that's going to be a more experiential experience with our spices.
Yes.
And we want to, again, evoke memories.
Yes. Okay. I love this. I love all of like, you know, you take tradition and you've built multiple companies at this point, right? But you've learned a lot of things in marketing that like, I think a lot of other CPG founders can learn from you. It's like the sampling part, the thoughtfulness within your branding, like the thoughtfulness in the overall experience, learning from the customer. But I mean, the fact that you're like a supper club experiential, like, girl, you ahead of the game. You ahead. Okay.
Thank you.
As a marketer, I'm like, let's go. I'm coming.
No, you kind of have to come. Like, I think we're going to be launching it in September. And again, we want to connect our product with an emotional experience, cultural experience, nostalgic. I don't know if you see these tins, but doesn't that remind you of the sewing kits?
Oh my
and
God.
the Royal Dance cookies.
Yes, I
That's
meant
why
to-
we brought it back.
I know.
And the typical Indian way to store spices are in these round tins too. So we kind of
Cool.
hit different memories for different, kind of times. And so we're just all about like food is love.
I love
Food is
that.
what breaking bread together, stays together.
I love it. I love it. We've sadly hit the end of the road and I'm so sad about it. But
Okay.
Rama, tell the audience where they can find you and where they can find Satya.
Yeah, sure. So we are at satyablends.com. Pretty easy. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube as well. And we're on Amazon. We're in about 40 plus retail locations in New York and Brooklyn and a couple across the country as well. And Home Goods National.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rama, for coming on.
Pleasure.
And everybody tuning in, please check out what Rama is building because it's really beautiful. And I urge you to support her on Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Dang, we've made it to the end of the podcast and you're still here. So thank you so much for listening to Above the Fold podcast. For the best of this episode and every episode, be sure to follow us on Instagram and my YouTube channel. And for deeper dives on the secrets to brand success, don't forget to subscribe to my weekly newsletter, Sunday Postcards. All right, my dudes and gals, see you next week.